It's a brand new season and this is Back of the Net, the AFC Bournemouth fan channel. Welcome, my name's Sam Davis.
I'm Tigz.
And I'm Tom.
So Bournemouth have had 3 UK-based pre-season friendlies. One of them was a win against the Saints. We lost to Atalanta and then a routine win against Bill Foley's Lorient. But that came after a win and a loss abroad in Marbella. And Tom, it went okay, didn't it?
Yeah, it was fine. Good
Right.
pass, good pass.
He spread it out to the right-hand
Brooksy.
side.
He's waiting for the
Is he
overlap.
gonna cut in? Is he going to have a shot?
Oh,
what a goal!
Oh, Brooksy.
What a goal! David Brooks. Oh my goodness me.
Christy, well brought down, son.
Go
Jaden.
on, go on, Jade. Go on, Jade.
Post, yes!
That's in.
Jaden Anthony. Christy done
Post
well there.
And in.
What a ball.
Oh, hello.
Finish down.
Go on.
Clivert.
Clive, go
Just
on.
score, be selfish.
Oh, he's
Oh.
tried it. He's been unselfish.
Yes! Is that Billy?
Billy.
Oh,
Quality player.
Go on, Justin.
Go on.
Clivert.
Can you get it?
Oh,
Oh,
Clivert.
he's cutting on his right.
Oh, he's
Spread it to
passing so
right-hand side.
unselfish. What
Oh
a finish,
my
Billy.
God.
Clivert
Phil
Billy
Hill.
again.
And you know
Heather,
what I said?
party in your pants, round 2. Oh, they've had a...
They should have been a shot. Oh my
goal.
God, they've scored. They've
What a
scored,
goal.
and what a goal it is. 1-0, and that is a hell of a strike.
Yeah, it was fine up until the last game. If we didn't do a watch along, mate, I think we would have been struggling with that 90 minutes. We lost against Tel Aviv, Maccabi, of course, but Hibernian 4-0. So then the UK, we had 1 friendly away and 2 at home. And this video is about what we learned. And I tell you what, we did learn a lot. And maybe there are still more questions than answers. Who knows? Before we begin, there are a couple of things you can do. One involving a thumb, Tigz.
Yeah. If you give it a like, please give this video a like. It'd be really, really helpful for all of us.
And once you've done that, click the big fat red subscribe button. Really appreciate it, so thank you.
If you think we're in some kind of Finnish sauna, you'd be wrong. We're at the Parrot Parley. If you've not come here, by the way, come here. It's incredible. David Brooks came here once on our recommendation, by the way.
To see me, I heard.
Yeah, that was a great picture you had with him, by the way. Superb. But amazing food, amazing drinks in the heart of West Parley. Do check their website out, The Pair at parley.com. So, 5 matches now under Andoni Iraola's belt, and it was assumed before these games happened that we would be in a clearer position, stronger position ahead of the curtain raiser against West Ham. But I tell you what, I'm not as confident as I was last month.
Yeah, there's still quite a few question marks, I guess.
Yes. Yeah, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because it was always going to be unknown because we've got a new manager and we're going to have new style, new system, new players as well, and we've lost a few as well. But I think if we're honest, we probably would have expected a few more through the door. The fact that probably, don't jump too far ahead, but probably at the moment Jack Stacey and Ben Pearson would have a chance of starting if they were still here. That's a bit of a concern, but we know they're trying to do things behind the scenes, and we're not the only club. It does take a while. West Ham, who we've got on Saturday, are struggling to get players in.
They haven't signed anyone.
No, I think they're just on the verge of getting someone, but like you say, they've really struggled, and they've got the cash from the Declan Rice deal as well. So we will do bits, but because that window doesn't end until you've played a few, it might be a tricky start where players are going to have to fill gaps where they won't normally play. But style-wise and things we've seen, I think there has been encouraging signs. But yeah, there's still a lot of question marks.
It seems to me, Tigz, like so many teams are seemingly in this position, whereby they're all almost waiting until the end of the month when the window closes. But you just think, like, why don't they get it done now? But maybe they can't, or maybe there's a bit
chess,
of
isn't
going
it?
on.
It's moving pieces constantly, and I think Andoni said it really well. Like, he would prefer it if the transfer window stopped when the season starts. Because then everyone's forced to get their business done, so everything just moves up. But the minute people are holding out, they got a little bit more for the pocket, for the agents or whatever. So it is a problem, and we know that a player gets sold in one club, then they've got to buy a replacement. It's this merry-go-round situation, and we're dealing with a much bigger kind of scale of things as well in terms of the whole of Europe. It would seem everything's kind of connected.
It's almost like the first 3 or 4 games of the season are effectively a write-off, and the season starts when we've got like 34 games to go.
Yeah.
It is weird, but I think you used the analogy of chess, and I was going to say poker in terms of like 2 clubs kind of playing that hardball thing of trying to get the value for the player and then trying to get a bargain. But like you say, it's really difficult because, you know, we made a point about West Ham, because now every player they try and sign, the selling club goes, well, we know you've just got 100 million.
Yeah.
So we're going to put our price up. And I think there was probably that situation with Vigna, for example, where he's ended up going anyway, but I reckon the selling club, Roma, probably thought, Bournemouth ain't got a left back. We can demand more than we probably need or want for this player. And that's the problem you have. And now, maybe when we're looking for a defensive midfield player, they go, oh, they lost their player of the season, they haven't got one.
Yeah.
We can give an extra 10 million. And I think that happens a lot, and we're not the only club that happens with.
It's like Centre Parks, because they do that. There's only one lodge left.
Yeah.
There you go. You can have it for £2,000 for the week.
Yeah, exactly.
When any other time of the year, it's, you know, £400 or whatever.
I won't have any slander on Centre Parks. I love Centre Parks, so I missed Derby away for that. Right?
You did, yeah.
I like Centre Parks. But yeah, that's the problem. It's the same for everyone. Everyone's in a similar boat in that sense. I always feel, you said about the window not ending till the future, I always feel for like Championship clubs, like if they have a striker who scored 10 goals in the opening, he'll probably get snapped up.
Yeah.
Whereas if the window closed, they've got him. So, you know, a few Championship players, you know, you've only got to look at Alex Scott, for example, that we're linked with. You know, if they start the season well at the Championship club, they might not have them because a Premier League club can come and grab them last minute. But yeah, there'll be a lot of business from every club, I think, virtually, from now to the end of the window. So yeah, well, I think we'll get the bodies in. It might just be a tricky start.
Yeah, it might be. So let's talk about these three friendlies then. We first played Southampton, and Tom, you were saying on a watch along, we were saying that it's actually quite a nice fixture to have, just because there's a little bit of needle with that, and also we want to get one over them as well. There was a funny article written by The Ugly Inside on their Fans Network website where they were almost writing about why are we playing Bournemouth, what a stupid decision it was to play them, because they're going to be rubbing our noses in it. But it's not a rivalry for them. So why did they write that article? I don't understand.
No, of course not. But yeah, I know what article you're talking about. I know a lot of fans. I think there was 13,000 there. And obviously we sold out. So obviously the size of their stadium, there wasn't as many from them as I expected. But yeah, I think a lot of them boycotted the game and went and watched their kind of B side play Weymouth, 4-0 Weymouth, by the way. But yeah, no, it was good fun. It's so weird how it went for, we never won at St Mary's, and I used to hate going there because we'd always lose. Yeah. And we've won the last 3 now.
It's our playground.
Yeah, it's easy. You know, I don't know what the problem. No, it was. But yeah, I think it was a good game because, you know, taking away all the banter aside, we've seen in their opening day, they're a top Championship club. They've only just gone down. So, and we played a lot of new players, a new system, and they're a decent side. So it was a good test for us, and it was also always going to be quite a tight game. They were a little bit ahead of schedule because obviously the Championship starts earlier, and I think you saw that in the second half where we were 2-0 up cruising, and then they kind of got into the game because they seemed like they had more legs. Yeah. So to still go and find a way to win the game, I think was impressive. There was good performances out there, especially offensively, but we did get caught a little bit vulnerable from balls in the box defensively. But yeah, I enjoyed the game. It was a good game, and it was quite an evenly contested game in the end. But we started like house on fire, and I think we're going to see that a lot this season, where we start really fast, and we did that in that game, and yeah, it was very enjoyable to win that.
Was there any singing in the concourse?
There was a little bit because old Big Fletch was in there.
Oh, was he?
He was in there. So
Love it.
Yeah, there was I think he went with Jim Favola. They were both in the away end, which was good fun because it just meant, you know, lovely little sing song before. But yeah, I think it was a really enjoyable one because, like you said, there's a little bit of needle. It was round the corner, and it was nice to see us play some really good stuff, particularly in that first half, and get another win at St Mary's is always nice, mate. Yeah,
we took the lead relatively quickly. We scored 2 goals in quick succession. The goals from Dango Ouattara and Ryan Christie. Let's take a look at the lineups here. So this is how Bournemouth started off, and it's a relatively strong side, you've got to say. One that wouldn't look out of place in the Premier League, of course. There was Kirkes who started, our new left-sided defender. So Neto, Anthony, Billing, Christie, Cook, Kirkes, Mepham, Ouattara, Senesi, Adam Smith and Dom Solanke. And then coming on from the bench during the game at different periods, of course, we had David Brooks, James Hill, Ben Greenwood, Gav Kilkenny, Justin Cliver, Kiefer Moore, Rothwell, we had Traore and also Zabani as well. Darren Randolph did not get used, but it was a good run out.
Yeah.
3-2 win. David Brooks scoring late on, put through on goal. Is he...
He's probably the player pre-season, isn't he?
Is he back to his best, or is this hard to judge in pre-season? I suppose it's a big call, isn't it?
So difficult to judge in pre-season.
Yeah, it is hard to judge, but what I will say is this is the first time he's had pre-season for a few years.
Yeah,
and that's massive for him. That would be, you know, I know when he kind of come back last season. There was like little glimpses, but I always thought it's going to be really tough for him to get up to speed, you know, with obviously the issues he had, and then the fact that he hasn't had that pre-season under his belt, and the fact that he's had a pre-season under his belt, stayed fit. I was kind of concerned that because of his fitness levels, he might pick up a few knocks, but he hasn't, seemingly. And I think he's probably up there with Ryan Christie, being two of our best performers over pre-season. Really good finish, but he literally come on, it wasn't for that long against Southampton, and he had like 2 or 3 chances, and that shows he's getting in the right areas, but also the assist from Traore for that winner, the perfectly weighted pass, was brilliant, and Stevens just got brushed aside. I will make a case actually, when Stevens was coming on, I thought, I wonder what was set. It's a bit of a weird one. Come on, stand ovation from the Bournemouth fans, which I thought was respectful. And he started in their opening day win as well. So, it was nice to see him get a good reception. But yeah, I think Brooksy has been one of our players for pre-season, and I didn't expect him to, but now I'm starting to think he probably will start our first game, which just shows, it says all it needs to, doesn't it, about Brooks and how he's dealt with this pre-season.
And what did you think, Tom, of the new additions? So obviously we saw a bit of Cliver over in Marbella, but you know, Kirkes, highly rated. We spoke to Ben Boschak, and he was saying that he's their kind of second most highly rated player after the Liverpool, Szoboszlai. But he's one that he's going to be keeping an eye on. How did he look? Because I was looking through Twitter, wasn't at the game, but I saw lots of positivity about him. Yeah,
I think I sent a message to one of the mates straight away. Said I don't want to go over the top, but he's better than Roberto Carlos. He looked really good. He like I say, it's early days, and it was probably his best performance pre-season. But I think he's looked good in all of them. But it's everything you kind of want in a modern day fullback. I'd say he looks comfortable getting forward, but then he's also quite ratty, quite tenacious, and in the tackle as well, like doesn't shy away from stuff. He was blocking a lot, stopping and putting balls in the box, which is important. But yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see, because I think we've got so many wide options. Are we going to end up developing a partnership with someone down that left, or is he going to have to play with a different player a lot? Because at the moment, it's hard to find someone that you think's nailed down on that left side in front of him. But yeah, early signs are really good, and the fact he's 19 as well is he's one of them that, you know, you don't want to say this early on, but you think how long are we going to keep him? But he does look like he's got a high ceiling. But yeah, that's it's been a massive addition for us. I know we've looked at him before, but a lot of clubs were looking at him. I think that says it all. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing him more regularly.
He's coming fit as well. Like he's played a lot of minutes. To be fair, where we've made subs and changes, he's played a lot. So he's come from somewhere. He's obviously ready.
No,
absolutely. So in Marbella, of course, we had a win and a loss. Over in the UK, it was a win and then a loss. We played Atalanta, and you know, they're a decent Italian side, of course, but they beat us 3-1. Tigz, you were there. What did you make of the performance? I suppose it's quite good to have these tests, isn't it, really? We can't have it plain sailing in pre-season, otherwise it wouldn't reflect it accurately, really.
And it is difficult to get a taste, like you were talking about, like a barometer. It is difficult to get a measure. They were very good, really.
They seem to be really ruthless. Ruthless in front of goal.
Yeah, completely. I mean, I got to say, one thing about them that I really like is their badge. I got to think about their badge.
It's quite cool,
really nice badge. Not dissimilar to that.
Not dissimilar to this badge. Funny, isn't it? But no, I thought they were great. I didn't think we were outclassed particularly. You know, we gave a good game, but we had more opportunities, probably.
Yeah, I think so.
We certainly had more of the ball, it felt like, for longer periods, but it was just like you said, that clinicality, that kind of, they had, a couple of good chances?
Yeah, just
a couple of good goals.
Away straight away.
They seemed to tear us open very, very easy. I mean, their second goal, where they just went through the centre of the pitch, it was a really nice finish past the keeper. But again, what that game did provide us with was a glimpse into how we deal with set pieces, crosses into the box, etc. And you could argue that we're not handling it, well, certainly in that game anyway, very well.
No, we're not, and Andoni and everyone will know that that's kind of an Achilles heel for us. I always think that it then turns into a mentality thing, that every corner, every Bournemouth player we can't concede from here, we always concede. And I think that's kind of creeping in a little bit, which is a shame, but yeah, it is what it is. It's something that they'll clearly be working on. I think Iraola even openly said we've been working so much on a new system.
That's right.
We need to find time as well to work
down the list a little bit.
Yeah, but yeah, I think in the game in general, I think you both summed that up well. I think it was unfortunately, I looked at it and kind of thought, this is what it's going to be like. We're going to be able to compete with most Premier League teams, in my opinion. But it's that clinicality, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because I thought, we're well in control with these lot, and these are a good side. Bang, 1-0. And you think, And that's the difference. That's their very fine margins, isn't it? That's all the game was on, really. But we've had that in the past with decent Premier League sides where we felt like, we were just as good as them, and they've won by a couple of goals. And that's what it was. And we knew they'd be a good side. And I think, weirdly, we probably got more out of that than the other wins, to be honest. So that was important to have. I think if you take that fixture away, I know we lost that one in Marbella, but it was kind of a snatch and grab at the end. I thought we were the better side, and they weren't great. But I think we needed that. We needed to show that there's a team that's slightly a level up from the other teams. They will pick you off. I think we needed that reminder. So it wasn't the greatest game, but I thought we did okay. But they were just a level above the opposition that we've had, and they are in European competitions for a reason. They got some good players.
And Andoni did say, we're on first name terms, by the way.
Of course.
Andoni did say before the game, he said, I'm looking forward to the game. It's not ideal because West Ham play a back four and they play a back three. So it's quite interesting. Like he's had his sights set on that West Ham game. Of course, So he's been preparing for that. These are lovely, these friendlies. But for him, they're not hugely important. No. And the thing that we all noted with that sort of soft centre, which we had in terms of our midfield immediately after the game, he's like, we're looking for 2-3 players in that position to improve what we've got there.
We've heard these sound bites before, though, haven't we?
We have, no, completely, we have. But I believe him. I do believe him.
Yeah.
It's just whether it can happen or not.
We've got too many of midfielders of a similar mould, in my opinion. It's not every time we say this, and Andoni as well, when he says this, there's no slant on Lewis Cook, on Joe Rothwell, on them two players, not at all, because they all do a good job. They're just not naturally that sort of player. So it's very difficult. They're adapting with every game, aren't they? And I think, they're not, I almost feel for them sometimes, because I think they're not playing in a role that they want to play in. They're trying their best to adapt. And I actually think Lewis has adapted quite well in pre-season, and he's done as good a job, as I'd have thought from him, because he's not naturally that sort of player. But he obviously knows, if I want to get in this team, this needs to be a role I can, and he's done pretty well. But we just haven't got a player of that mould at the moment, and it just means we're going to get caught now and again.
One of the things I noticed when watching the game was how he's using Dom Solanke very different. Well, I say very differently. Like Dom Solanke's always worked hard, but quite often I found the defenders were pumping it into Dom Solanke's feet very quickly, very early. So he was coming really deep and collecting it and then trying to turn with it or spread it out wide. And then there were other moments where they were pumping long balls into the channels for him to chase down. Yeah. He absolutely needs to do everything by the looks of it.
Yeah, we're quite reliant on Dom, aren't we? I think he struggled. I don't know what you think, Tigz. I think he struggled. You never know with pre-season, because you always think, some people are further along fitness-wise than others, and I don't know. I think he has had the odd little niggle, which hasn't helped him. But he has struggled for pre-season. Obviously, I always think with Dom, because he's always got that question mark of goals over him, and it's to go through the whole of pre-season if he hasn't scored is a blow. But we always know Dom's quite used to having to do a lot of work with previous managers as well. But I think we're certainly trying to get the ball forward quicker, so we are getting a little bit more direct at times, which he'll like. But I also think Andoni's gone, Dom, if you want to drop in them pockets and come get the ball, then the wide players need to go, and we can go from there.
Yeah, agreed.
I think the problem we've had with previous managers is you're getting Dom to do that job, or even Kiefer, but everyone else is still behind him, and it's just like, what's he supposed to do? I think with this system, you are seeing that when he gets it, everyone's coming with him, which is a little bit more helpful. But he struggled against Atalanta because they played a three at the back. They were they were quite in and around him, and they were just better calibre of opposition, really, I would say. Yeah. But I think Dom will be okay. It's a difficult one. I just think with the way we're playing at the moment, are we looking to get balls in more? And will that suit Kiefer more? Kiefer Moore, I didn't realise I did that. I said to Tigz actually off air that I would have really liked to have seen how Semenyo was in this style, and it's been a real shame that he must be gutted that new manager, I might have been able to get a chance to play some minutes and he's had that injury, because he might be more suited to it in a weird way. I think we haven't really seen him yet, so I wouldn't be surprised if we get another body in there, but I don't think that's priority. I know people want another striker. That's down the pecking order, I think. Yeah,
a few people have sort of put out there on maybe, and I would completely understand this, would be put a guy next to him, put someone next to him who, a little bit more wily, someone quick, can feed off of what Dom does. But I don't think that's the plan. No, I don't think that's the way we're going to go. We're not going to have two up top. We're going to have Dom, who's almost almost a target.
Yeah.
You know, whether it be to feet, whether it be or over the top of his head. But then you've got another guy who's got to get close to him. But I think, you know, as we've got quite a few wingers, that's where our goal should probably be coming more from.
Yeah.
So we saw the team on screen, and we're seeing some names pop up in each and every lineup. Of course, Neto, Jadon Anthony, David Brooks, Lewis Cook there, Kirkes, Dango Ouattara as well. Do we have a grasp of a few players that we think that Iraola is going to be starting against West Ham? Because previous pre-season campaigns we've sometimes chopped and changed, and we haven't really got a clue which players are going to be starting. I think we have with this side.
Yeah,
I think there's a few nailed on, definitely a few nailed on, but I don't know, because it's and then you get a few knocks, because I thought Jadon's earned his right to be on that left-hand side, and then the injuries mean he'll probably be at right back. There's a few in there. Obviously Neto, obviously Kirkes. I think even though he didn't start in the last game, I think Senna will play. I think he's been very good.
Yeah.
I actually think he really likes Ryan Christie and what Ryan Christie gives. He's a very much that sort of player that I think he likes him in the centre.
Yeah.
But I think he just loves the way he presses and joins in. And it was interesting that in the last game he wasn't in the squad. And they said, is he injured? He said he could have played today, but I didn't want to risk it. And I think that's because he thinks he's that pivotal.
That's good.
That's how what I read from it anyway. I think there's a few, like you alluded to, Tigz. I think there's in them wide areas we've got so many options. I think it will almost be maybe game dependent a little bit, because I think we've got so many options there.
Yeah.
And we'll see what we do, and then obviously injuries to fullbacks and stuff doesn't help, because then you've got to get a new collection down that side. But I don't know, there's a few in there. I mean, at the moment, I'd probably say Lewis Cook's the first name on the team sheet, because we haven't really got anyone in that role. But there's a few nailed on, but there's still a few up for grabs, I think. And it'd be interesting to see, because Mepham's played a few minutes and done well. But I think everyone's under the illusion that it's probably Zabani and Senesi's our partnership. But then Mepham's played a lot as well.
And he rarely lets us down. Honestly. So, look, we had Lorient as well, our sister club, our feeder club, our whatever you want to call it. Love you. I was disappointed with the calibre of the side that we played. They weren't that great. I haven't watched much of Lorient. I don't know whether that was an off performance for them, but to the naked eye, it would suggest that the quality in the French league, the further you go down, it's really not that great. In my opinion. What do you think of the game, Tigz?
They didn't really test us at all. Neto didn't have anything to do. Was Neto even there? Was he?
I think we actually looked, didn't we? When I was speaking to you off air, and they didn't have a shot on target.
No. Okay, so there we go. And we dealt with them quite comfortably. Yeah. I felt they had a couple of little moments, didn't they? Like they've got this really good player who played up front. What's his name?
Oh, he was really box to box, wasn't he? And
what's his name?
Exciting player.
Oh, wait a minute, isn't that?
We should sign that.
We should sign that guy.
We should sign that guy. I think I put on Telegram when I was doing the player ratings, I said it was weirdly a lose-lose, because if he plays well, everyone goes, why did we let him go on loan? And if he plays badly, go, why did we sign him? But I agree, Tigz. I think you were probably on the same wavelength as me. As I don't know if we were all looking at him a little bit more subconsciously, but I felt he was their best player by a mile.
Do you think that's the first time he's met his teammates to be?
Yeah, probably.
Oh, good point. Yeah,
probably is.
Probably didn't even turn up here, did he? No.
So that's just really strange. Like in a year, I'll be playing with you guys, but for now, I'm not. What a weird introduction that must be. But he looked good though.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, he was. It's a weird one, because he was kind of. I don't know. I felt he was probably an 8 in the way he played, quite box to box. And I wondered with. They were playing a team that they probably expected to lose to, let's be honest, than they did. I wonder if he's playing certain teams in France, he might play a little bit higher and be a bit more effective in the
second half. He moved up a little bit further, nearer to the forward, Yeah,
he looks like he could play higher up. He looks like he's got that technical quality. But like I say, you're probably looking at him a little bit more than the other players. We had a lot of control in the game. I weirdly wanted them to test us a bit more.
Yeah.
Because Radu, I don't know if he's a good goalie yet, because he hadn't had anything to do. I wanted to see him putting some balls in the box and seeing how we dealt with it.
Yeah.
Jay Nantley's played at right back, wasn't tested defensively.
No, not really.
So, but equally, you go, I don't really know loads about them, and maybe we just controlled the game really well, and we were just too good for them, and we deserve credit for that. I thought, me and Tigz spoke briefly, I thought Rothwell done his job very well. He was almost, Anthony was going, he was dropping in a little bit. I thought he was quite, without looking like he was brilliant. I thought he was just really not safe, because that sounds really comfortable in the role he was asked to do, which I think would have been nice for Iraola, and I think he's kind of put himself in the chance of playing now.
Yeah, I agree.
Against West Ham. I'm not convinced, but he might have a chance now, I think.
There's a thing about him and Christie with their fitness, like they seem to run.
Yeah.
And I think that suits, doesn't it? That suits what he wants to do.
We tore him open relatively easy in the end. The ball was played over to, I think, Kiefer Moore got the flick to set Dango free, and I thought Dango was gonna run with it towards goal, but he saw Brooks like in so much space on that far side. It was a lovely finish from David Brooks, and then the second goal, Tom, a Kiefer Moore header put in by defensive midfielder Marcos Senesi. I mean, what's that? Is that an option? Is that something he's considering? What do you think that was all about? Or was it just to fill a player that we needed to put on the pitch at that point in time?
Yeah, I think we all probably know that he's got certain attributes that he could probably just comfortably go in there in a friendly and play all right.
But you love South American defensive midfielders.
Very true. And I mean, the pass for Kiefer Moore was absolute perfection, wasn't it?
It was great.
And Kiefer got on the end of it. But yeah, I think I said this, but if it was a viable option going into the Premier League, he wouldn't have played just 15 minutes in that role.
Good point.
In my opinion, I think it's he thinks, I can do that if needs be. And I think it's also, particularly if you're winning the game, it's almost like you can sit in front of the centre halves and then drop in and make it a back three at times. Because he's quite comfortable coming out as well. But I think realistically, I don't think we're going to start in there. I quite like him there. I think it is an option. But we've seen 15 minutes of him. He ain't going to start in the Premier League there. I don't think. I think the reason he started with Jane Antley at right back is because he thinks that could be an option for West Ham.
Because he played a lot of minutes. Yeah,
because he played a lot there. But yeah, he done well when he come on, and I think it's an option there. But he could almost come on in a double pivot really, because Kilkenny come on at the same time as well. And typical Kilkenny done a moment of magic, didn't he?
Pirouette, turn, whatever it was.
And you suddenly go, is he good? He could. Kilkenny is just pre-season Iniesta, isn't he?
Yeah, he's an enigma.
He really is.
An enigma.
Could be named in the squad though, you know.
I think he should be at the minute, definitely. I mean, I don't see. We've got the space, haven't we?
We have at the moment. It wouldn't shock me. You ain't going to start. It wouldn't shock me if he gets some minutes against West Ham, you know. If he comes on.
Senesi, CDM, Jayden Nancy at right back. Where does this leave our squad depth? Later on this week, we're going to be doing a video where we're taking a look at the squad and also checking out some feasible signings from other Premier League clubs. Make sure you subscribe for that. So, 5 games in total. Rock and roll football. Is that what this is, Tom? Is it rock and roll? Is it hardcore thrash metal?
I think it will be. I think it definitely will be, because that's the way he wants us to be, and I think you've seen signs of it. I think we spoke about how in Marbella it was quite evident that he started like that, and then the heat early pre-season, it tailed off. And I think you mentioned to me earlier, Tigz, I think Andoni's probably realising they're not at a stage at the moment where they can keep that up for 90 minutes. But I didn't think that in the last game, and probably because we realised we could control Lorient with the ball, that we didn't need to do it. I think we know our place in the Premier League. There's going to be a lot of games where we need to be a bit more rock and roll, because we ain't going to be able to control the football. Last season we had I think it was only Forest that had an average less possession than ourselves. So I think we're in the Premier League, we'd have to be comfortable without the ball and pressing and, like you say, rock and roll. But in them pre-season games, the Lorient game, Southampton game, Hibs game, didn't need to be rock and roll. It was happy to be Coldplay. Get the track up, mate.
I will try to fix you. Tigz. So it's a 4-2-3-1 formation. Did you notice much tactically, or did you see any patterns of play that you thought
definitely. I mean,
were fairly notable?
Yeah, no, I think so. I think sort of throughout the game, he had the fullbacks were so high up, weren't they? Even from the off, which was really, really interesting. Trying to get close to the wingers so that they can kind of share the work a little bit. What would quite often happen, as Tom noticed earlier, is that you'd have Jayden Nancy in this case. He tried to get forward as much as he could. Kirkes was always up, on the halfway line at least. And then someone else would have to drop back.
Yeah.
Now, what we'd normally do is you'd expect, a player to drop back in the middle. Well, what he actually did is he got Rothwell to drop back in that kind of right back position behind Anthony, which allows Anthony to kind of feel like he's got a bit more freedom, which as a winger, not naturally a fullback, he's going to need that. So that was quite interesting to see. Some of the times it just left 2 at the back, which all felt a little bit risky, but it was all right. Keith Moore, I thought, did really well.
He did.
He was asked to do a lot. He was asking to receive the ball, but also close down. So he was closing down the goalkeepers. He was closing down the defenders. But what he wanted constantly, and you can see him sort of shouting for Billing, with another person to come with him and close down as well on the centre half, especially when they're playing 4 at the back. You needed 2 of them to go. So there was a bit of sort of moaning and shouting on that base. But when it did work, it worked really well, and you ended up with a kind of overload of kind of 4 players, and then you had the fullbacks coming up as well, which meant that really there were so many different options. Sometimes I think the idea would be is that maybe one of the two central midfielders would also come forward as well.
Yeah, definitely.
So then that just kind of leaves you kind of 3 at the back. Could be either one, really. I suppose it depends on who ends up playing in those 2 central positions.
These observations are all in tune with what we noticed from the 10 observations or that video we put out with regards to how he forms his sides.
What he does expect, I think, is that players can play pretty much anywhere.
Yes.
Like he's expecting players to be able to play in different positions at different times. So the fact that we're seeing Jayden Anthony at right back actually is not that much of a surprise, because he might have to do that sometimes.
He's been used there before.
Yeah, I think you can see. I think you bang on there, but I think you can see in a lot of our players that they can quite comfortably fit in other roles.
Yeah.
But also you see, I think with the centre half as well, it's going to be interesting. I think when obviously Senesi didn't start the game there, I think he's a left-footed centre-back that's comfortable to cover that left-hand side when Kirkes goes. I think that would be an obvious thing. I think Zabani's got the legs to be able to just cover that right-hand side. And I think that's what it'll be. You can set out in a 4-2-3-1, but I think a lot of the time, everyone's going to be...
Which is that chaos, where that chaos comes from, isn't it?
I think that's where the word's used a lot, because...
Yeah. Chaos.
And but I thought the most evident thing, as you said there, Tigz, was we're going to try Anthony here. We know he's going to be offensive. I don't want to take that from his game. So, Rothwell, I trust you to be the reliable one to just kind of sit in there a little bit, just keep an eye.
Yeah.
And, if that's the way we're going to go into that West Ham game, I think Jarrod Bowen's a threat. We're going to have to do that sort of thing.
One of the things that concerned me was the crossing. Up until Marcus
Senesi.
Exactly,
put it in for Kiefer Moore.
Because the corners were rubbish.
The corners were absolutely terrible. One of them went along the ground. And this is one of the key areas of focus that Andoni tends to have, but from what I saw, it was pretty poor.
I think we were kind of, in terms of, because we were so comfortable in the game, we didn't do it. It's like we kind of just kept passing the ball around, which was frustrating. The other thing that he's asked him to do, and we noticed this with Dom, getting balls in different places for Dom. He asked Keith Moore to kind of receive the ball from quite long. Like there was a lot of goal kicks up to Keith Moore, which you're starting then from there, aren't you? And trying to get the ball out wide, and then he can make a run. But that's not always going to work. So it's having the different players to be able to play in different positions, I think, is what's going to be key. Which is why I think a lot of the players that we've been signing seem quite versatile.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think that's really key. I think he'll obviously it's a shame with the injury. I think he'll like people like Tavernier, who could fill both sides. I think with Brooksy that he plays off the right the majority of the time. He's not a winger. He likes to come in. Christie could fill any of them. He could fill so many roles. And I think a lot of the players, he's played Dango on the left as much as he has on the right, because he's quite comfortable doing that. I think you see when Kluivert comes on that he really wants to join in up top. I know he's played up front in his career before, and I think Kluivert will give you that option of he'll go and try and get close to the striker, and Kirkes will go down the side. And I think there's loads of really encouraging things, but everything we're talking about is kind of quite offensively based. It's going to be when we get turned, and how are we going to deal with that, and what's the engine levels like of the players to get back. And I think there will probably be a lot of tactical fouls from your Senesis and your Zabanis to stop that counter, because as Tigz said, I think it wasn't a problem because we won the game and you want to win the game, but with Lorient it was so easy to just kind of go, we're in control it. So I kind of wanted them to counter us and see how we coped. But because that happened against Atalanta and we struggled a little bit in that sort of thing. But I think if we're going to play that way, I'd certainly rather that have a right go at them and see what happens. And we have got quite an energetic side, and a side that I think will bust a gut for each other. So it was. I think it's exciting. It is what we expected, and I think there'll be more chaos to come once he gets the players he wants.
It wouldn't be Bournemouth if we felt prepared. Which teams feel prepared? And this is not just us. I think there are Premier League fans of other teams that probably believe they're in a much worse position than they probably are. So it'd be interesting to see what the fans say. If only there was a way to ask them. Well, we did on social media. We asked what they thought of the 5 friendlies that we have. So we'll just go through a few. And feel free to jump in if anything is of note here. Richard Jackson said, more of a question of what I still have to learn. I still have no idea of our starting lineup for West Ham. Will Iraola ball be as radically different as expected, as I've not seen that yet? And will we ever learn to defend set pieces? I thought I'd have more answers now, but I'm still hopeful.
Yeah, I think we've spoken about that a little bit. There is still a lot of questions to be answered in there at the moment. But I think, I don't want to go too much detail, get through them, but I think Iraola probably hasn't been given the tools that he maybe wanted at this point. I know Casciavili would have been one, it was just a medical was one of the things. But I think once he gets the players in, and unfortunately we probably haven't got the number of players in that we maybe anticipated at this point.
Andrew Roper said, we look a better side than last season, and you can see a clearly defined style of play which we lacked last season. Traore, Kirkes, Brooks and Zabani, the standouts for me today. No idea where we will finish, but I have a feeling that we'll win more games than last season. One of the things I noticed on social media, I can't remember who posted this, it might have been Kirk, talking about the fact that in our last 21 games, we've yet to draw. We've yet to, so it's been win, loss, 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 win, 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 loss, loss. I mean, I don't know if that really means anything in particular.
When was our last draw?
Yeah, I can't even remember.
I mean, I want to try and know it now.
But it's possibly safe to say that under Iraola, there are going to be less draws going on, because he's going to be... Is this more like Eddie Ball?
Yeah.
Yeah, say it quite.
What we're going to be seeing, yeah?
Yeah, we're going to go out to win a game. Yeah, or lose it.
I think the prime example is, we spoke about it off air, I think the prime example is if your right back's out under Gary O'Neill, it's Chris Mepham. If your right back's out under Scott Parker, it's Chris Mepham. When your right back was out under Eddie Howe, it'd be Junior Stanislas, Jordan Ibe. Do you know what I mean? And and we've seen Jay Mantley play there. And that says it all, really.
Could this season be like our first season back in the Championship after we got promoted from League One? Like 5-1 loss, 6-1 loss, finished 10th. It could well be one of those seasons.
Yeah, definitely. I think so.
Yeah, but at least we haven't got to go to Anfield on the first away game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, good. Cliver and Kirkes and Mustard, said Nobby Dog. Traore starts ahead of Billing. We need a right back and a goal-scoring striker, though Cliver could do the job. Jaden at right back is sacrilege. Should convert him to a striker. Very high press. And won the ball back in the opposition half. At least we have a plan and a style. And that's one thing I did notice against Lorient and probably Hibs. When we smell blood and when we smell kind of a defensive weakness and the fact that maybe they're not as overly confident as playing out from the back, then
we're in.
We absolutely were in. And we pressed very high. He mentioned Billing there. In his last game, I thought that was one of his poorest games, really.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's so difficult to tell with Billing. Like, he might just be sauntering around a little bit, thinking, "Well, I'm going to start the next game. I've been told already." You know, you just don't know. But I've got to say that when Traore came on, he worked a lot harder, and it made more sense to me. He got much closer to Kiefer Moore. You know, so I don't know. Or maybe, I mean, there's that awful kind of
contracts up at the end of the season. I think it's you kind of went into it there, Tigz. I think it's unfortunately with Billing, because of his demeanour, you always think, does he want to be here? But when you really look at the stats, he scores all our goals.
Yeah.
He covers loads of ground. He's a bloody good player. But because of the contract thing as well, I think automatically you're going to think, is he going to go? But put it this way, I would say he was the worst player on the pitch. That's why he come off against Lorient. He didn't look good. But would I start him against West Ham? 100%.
He was injured the game before, though, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Atlanta.
Yeah.
So we don't know where he's at in terms of.
No.
He might just be under 45 minutes. Just
and let's not forget Hibs, where we were playing really well, but couldn't put the ball in there. He walked on the pitch, scored 2 straight away. Billing will get the numbers. And Traore, who I really like, I think he's got a high ceiling, has yet to show me he can back out the goals.
Agreed.
He still, for me, looks a bit Christie-esque, where he's brilliant, but you think it never looks like he's going to score. Billing puts the ball in the net. I'm starting Billing without question on Saturday.
Cherry Blossom said, I'm quietly optimistic. If we can just plug the right back gap, strengthen the centre midfield zone and improve the stamina levels of the squad, I see no reason why AFC Bournemouth can't finish in a solid mid-table position. With many potential goal scorers, opponents won't know who to watch. We're going through a few of these. Someone says, take a point right now. Brooksy will be back. All will be well. Mark says, yes, We all know the squad is a bit light. Regardless, we exerted a lot of pressure up top, but we need to create and convert more opportunities in the box. I suspect that may happen as the team settles into the new system. Again, there's people that are talking about the squad feeling 3 or 4 light, especially in the fullback areas, and this is what we're going to be talking about on a video later in the week, isn't it? The fact that we do feel light, and it
do feel light.
It's so weird, just like. We feel in a great place, but then a few things happen. Like, obviously, we were going to sign Gaetano Castrovilli due to a medical.
Well done, by the way.
A knee, thank you. Due to the knee issue, which everyone knew about. You Googled it, but he didn't pass it. So we did. I don't know whether the medical revealed more more issues for the future.
But like the Jackson one that we did last,
Perhaps,
that's similar kind of thing. I think that the other thing you've got to remember, and we did mention this earlier, is that I've looked around, and the majority of Premier League clubs and some Championship clubs are all saying the same thing.
Yes, they are.
We're not ready. Right. We haven't got this position. This sort of this is still a problem from last season.
But and then Adam Smith isn't available, and all of a sudden, in the blink of an eye, we're thinking we're weaker than how we started this pre-season campaign.
I think player for player we probably are, because I think we've strengthened at left back. But we would have been fine with Vigna. He's not as good as Kirkers, but if we had kept Vigna and not Kirkers, we would have been fine. We've got Kluivert in, but I don't think he's going to start at the weekend. I think he looks good, but I don't think he'll start. So we've lost a defensive midfield player in Lerma who would have started if he was here. So have we really strengthened? Probably not. I mean, technically, we've lost centre-half in Jack Stevens. I think Hill comfortably fills in the 5th centre-half spot. But yeah, the injury to Smith has made more alarm bells because we already wanted a right back, and then our right back gets injured. Fredericks, I don't know. But the people, myself included, that moan about the kind of Fredericks deal, we gave him a 2-year deal, he's barely kicked the ball, would have been the same ones moaning if we had signed Castrovilli and he had been out for ages. Everyone would go, well, who's doing the medicals?
Yeah,
so, I think if they had seen something in him that go, that knee, I think it's the knee, if something happens, he could be out for a prolonged period of time. I think it was like 14 million euros. We can't move on.
Yeah.
Yes, I would have liked us to, but I'm sure they've got other targets. I'm fine with that. But yeah, it's just that we're going into the opening day light, but we'll get the bodies in. I'm convinced we'll get the bodies in. It will just be we've got nearly a month and we will get them in.
Football fans are so fickle because on Twitter you see people posting pictures of when they were in Marbella having cocktails. Francis, Hughes, and Blake saying, "Oh, what a cracking signing!" When the medical goes wrong, Blake out.
Yes. What are they drinking?
Someone who's not as optimistic is Matt. He says, we're going to be in a relegation dogfight. Ignore the overexcited AFC Bournemouth Twitter fans. The priority and aim is to stay in the league.
It's fair.
Nothing else. Yeah, it absolutely is.
Yeah.
And we'll finish with Joe, who said, pre-season is about getting players fit. End of. We got promoted in 1987 that is, after losing all of our friendlies. So hey, look, it's not all bad, is it?
And you've got to remember,
on a positive note.
Just remember, not so long, not too many seasons ago. Do you remember this first season, pre-season, under Parker, and we had all the kids playing?
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. Zamora, Anthony Kilkenny.
And how well did they do? And you just don't know, do you?
No.
Rossi, bring him back. You just don't know. Like, it's so difficult to tell until we start the season.
It is really difficult. And you mentioned that picture and stuff of Blake like that. Tell you what, right back, Simon Francis, sign him on. Richard Hughes, defensive midfield.
Yes.
Fine. Maybe it's all a ploy.
Put Neil Blake up top.
They're both starting. I'm telling you that.
He's tall.
Would you, if Frado proved his fitness, if they do a little bleep test this week? Frado's in, isn't he?
Should we just bring out all the coaching team?
Yeah, just let
Alan
him play.
Connell's, We've still got Carl Fletcher.
Yeah. Big Fletcher up top, put some balls in the box. We're fine. If you look at our staff, we're absolutely fine.
Absolutely. Love it. Look, we hope you've enjoyed this, whether you've been watching or you've been listening via the audio pod. You know what? Being part of the back in there, I've actually had the chance to absorb more of you this week than most of you guys have, because I saw your player rating show, mate, on Telegram. It was very good. It was a 10-minute exclusive video. Telegram, I hear you cry. You did cry that, right? It's for our Back of the Net members, anyone who donates monthly to the channel, because we've got a lot of overheads, and helping to cover those is our main priority and helps us do what we do. We did an article, actually, a couple of articles, we'll post the links below, about firstly our content plan this season, but also another one that details what you get as part of being a member. And on the Telegram group, which is like WhatsApp, you get a lot of things like show input.
Yeah.
Bloopers.
Sorry?
Bloopers. Not that I'm ever involved in the I mean, me and Tigz might be there, but we know who the bloopers come from, don't we? Let's be honest.
I think you've done one blooper and I didn't save the recording of it.
I get you. There's no proof. But no, like I say, we thank everyone that obviously helps us out, like I say, with the overheads. And we're just trying to, we're going to keep trying to find little different bits as well that we can give them exclusives. You know, just say thanks, really. So
first look videos as well.
Yeah.
And lots of show input, as we said. And hopefully these guys will be making it on the blooper reel very, very soon. But if you want to go and do it, it's if you go to afcbpodcast.com/support, that gives you all the information. There's a link to our Ko-fi, which is afcbpodcast.com/coffee, and that's all it is, a price for a cup of coffee a month. Starts at £3. You can donate more, whatever, or a one-off. It's entirely up to you. We truly appreciate your support. So, are you getting excited? Are you getting, because, I mean, the EFL started at the weekend.
Lucky things.
Some big results.
there was. The Friday night one great, wasn't it? Southampton got the last minute winner. But,
there was a 7-0 in there, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was some absolute... Yeah,
Port Vale, was it?
Yeah, Barnsley. Was it
Barnsley
against
against Port Vale?
And all the eyes on League 2 as well for the Wrexham.
I know. Everyone's said that because Wrexham and Notts County are the bottom two.
Yeah.
So everyone's said the fight's on already.
That's
but
funny.
that shows that even that step up, there's some...
Leicester came back to win 2-1 against Cardiff, was it?
Yeah. No, Cardiff was Leeds.
Yeah, Cardiff was Leeds. Who did they beat?
Leeds didn't beat anyone, Sam.
No, who did
Leicester beat Coventry 2-1.
That's right. They took the
Coventry
lead,
looked great,
so.
didn't they?
They did. They were unlucky. But it shows because all Southampton, Leicester and Leeds, who everyone's gone there too strong for the Championship, all had tight games. It's a hell of a league, isn't it?
So I just want the real thing now. So.
Dembele scored, by the way. Sariki Dembele.
Oh, good stuff. And also Ben Pearson did well, played, and Travers did as well.
Travers played. Stacey, they love Stacey at Norwich.
Yeah. He got man of the match, I think.
Yeah, they love him.
We did have a comment in one of the previous videos, which 3 teams do we think were going to be promoted? So we'll have to do that at some point, who we think is coming up from the Championship.
So hard in the Championship.
Give us another week. Give us another week.
Yeah, so hard in the Championship.
Yeah. Interesting. All right, well, thank you so much for tuning in. We truly appreciate it. Remember, stay tuned this week. Plenty of content as we build up to our curtain raiser on Saturday against the Hammers. Thanks for tuning in. Up the Chaz.
Up Chaz.
Up Chaz.
Oh, lovely.